Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield for a question?
Mr. Engelbright, will you yield?
I yield.
Okay,
Mr. Engelbright yields.
Thank you, Mr. Engelbright. So my question is, with this new VETR system, do we have any idea how they plan on calculating the return on investment if I have solar panels and it's going, the grid is taking the electric that I'm sending in? Do we have any idea at this point how they would reimburse that?
I wish that there was an easy yes or no answer. It's mostly no. We really have a mysterious calculation process, and that's the problem. And you've really pointed toward it with your very insightful question. The problem is that the marketplace is looking at the ensuing uncertainty, and they're saying, we can't sell this. They're discovering that they can't sell uncertainty to potential customers. That's why in our part of the state, there's been a 50% drop-off in people who are willing to make the investment into uncertainty.
Now,
upstate, by the way, this is, let me just be clear, even though the word Long Island appears up on the big board, this isn't just for Long Island. This is a bill that will affect all of the state. And let me just also point out that the lost investment on Long Island is more than matched with the anticipated loss of new installations and economic vitality upstate. In fact, the total losses upstate amount to almost $1 billion projected for the next year due to that very uncertainty that your question pointed out.
Okay, now would you agree that under the VETR system on a sunny day or different parts of the year, they could actually reimburse an owner or operator of these solar panels a different rate? So on a sunny day, they might pay fewer dollars. Is it possible that?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
We're looking at the present time at a predictable rate based not upon the sun, but upon how much energy is absorbed by the device on the rooftop. So how much power is produced is the measure.
Okay. Now, in our section of the state, we have a very thriving solar jobs program. We have numerous independent companies. Would you agree that this could actually put our companies out of business? We have hundreds of jobs.
It is not only theoretically possible, it has already begun to happen. I am aware of a number of installing companies that have already decided that with the PSC order coming at them, that they can't make a living and they can't sell the idea to potential customers because the benefits are impossible to explain. It's just a quagmire of spaghetti logic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Engelbright. On the bill, Mr. Speaker?
On the bill, sir.
I have to urge my colleagues to please support this bill. On Long Island, we are being killed with some of the highest electric costs in the nation. And I can tell you, my wife and I just purchased our home last year, and we're trying to figure out what we can do to get our costs down. And we have debated the idea of solar. There's a number of great solar companies in my district. Hundreds of people that live in my district also work there. But I have to agree with Mr. Engelbright on this end. If we're trying to figure out, my average electric bill is $150 a month. If I'm trying to make that calculation, if I want to put these panels on my house and essentially mortgage them for 15 years, I have to see a savings. So they can tell me that the cost of the panels would be $130 a month. That's a savings every month. But now, under the VETR plan, if I'm paying that $130 a month for those solar panels on my home, but now I also get hit with an electric bill for $70 or $80 because the power going back into the grid isn't being reimbursed at a certain rate, that's really going to put our, especially young people and our senior citizens on Long Island, really in a bad position. Solar energy is good for the environment, but it's also can be good for our economy and good to save our ratepayers money. So in that vein, I'd ask that my colleagues support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Engelbright.